if you ask 10 people where we are economically, you'll get 10 different answers. I think you've mixed up Kenyans with a lot of theory, a lot of talk, a lot of confusion. The only thing that is not in doubt is that Kenyans are broke. Yes, so there is no doubt that Kenyans are broke. As to what has made them broke, we'll have different explanations. But I think Kenyans are broke. What I can say is that looking back at the last 3 years, 23, 24, now 25, which is the full years of this government. True, because I was part of one. I was part of the team that prepared the plan, as we call it, the manifesto for Kenya Kwanza, and I was part of the team, especially that helped the president to take over, from the previous administration. It's a thankless job because things that the realities of the economy as it were then may not be visible to so many people. I mean, if you go to the streets of Kakamega or Murang'a.
Salale, mambo yazidi kuchemka zaidi na zaidi. Hii ni baada ya moseskuria kuweza kusalitiwa na Rais Ruto. Kabla tujaendelea sasa kusubscribe, like utakuwa umenisaidia zaidi. Moseskuria aweza kusema kuwa Rais Ruto aliweza kumsaliti na walikuwa na mpango ya kuweza kuiba kura mwaka wa 2027. Anasema kuwa walipanga mpango hiyo na kuna mzogamano kati yeye na Rais Ruto, na Rais Ruto akaweza kumtoa na kumsaliti, na akasema hata mpa nafasi ili kuweza kupigania kura wa gavana mwaka 2027. Wacha tuweze kumsikiza moseskuria alivyosema.
I think Kenyans are broke. What I can say is that looking back at the last 3 years, 23, 24, now 25, which is the full years of this government. True, because I was part of one. I was part of the team that prepared the plan, as we call it, the manifesto for Kenya Kwanza, and I was part of the team, especially that helped the president to take over, from the previous administration. It's a thankless job because things that the realities of the economy as it were then may not be visible to so many people. I mean, if you go to the streets of Kakamega or Murang'a and you tell people about inflation, do they even know what is inflation? Many don't. If you tell them that Kenya was defaulting on debt within 6 months, they don't know because we have always paid debt. So for them, the prospect of defaulting was not there. So a lot of things, the positive things that have happened within this administration may not be visible to the naked eye, if I put it that way, because there are issues which are, may I say, too complicated for the ordinary Kenyan. Be it about inflation, be it about the forex cover, be it about not defaulting on debt, but overall, and I think the government, if I were to give it, I would give it a C+ in terms of stabilizing the economy. Stabilizing the economy. But stabilizing the economy, people will say that's not what they have for breakfast. Where I give it a pathetic E is on something called ensuring that the money is circulating in the economy. I think for me that's a big problem, because a lot of people, yes, there are two sides of looking at the economy. There is what we call the economy and development. Development is what we are now used to. More roads, more houses, more railways, more, brick and mortar things that you can touch. But that's not the economy. The economy are things which, affect the common man. And that's why the issue of money supply or money circulating is very important. The other day I was talking to some people in Trans Nzoia. I told them, some government people, some accounting officers, and I told them that I've talked to a lot of people about this so-called Singapore journey. And what people are telling me about Singapore is that they want to go to Singapore, but they want fare So ask that government to pay us spending bills, at least to pay fare according to Singapore. It all speaks to those issues of ensuring money is in supply. And there ought to be fair balance. And that's the whole problem, that there's no balance. There's no balance between brick and mortar issues, housing. You know, we have got three corners of a triangle. Brick and mortar, money in circulation, and of course, the social programs. Now, let's look at it this way. Infrastructure. After a lot of delay, we are now back to, doing the roads. We have figured out, I think that's commendable, if you ask me, on the infrastructure side. It's commendable, which I am the first person who, in January of 2023, authored a paper jointly with Jugun and Dongo called ABS, Asset-Backed Securities, to provide an alternative mechanism for financing our infrastructure. So when I hear my good friend Didi Nyoro attack, in fact, I would want him to ask me, because I was really the father of securitization. And I did not start in this government. In 2018, I was a vice chair of the Transport Committee in the National Assembly. And I moved amendment to the Roads Act to provide for use of money that is called annuity to do securitization. Because I traveled to America, I think in 2018-19, as a vice chair of the committee. And I had other junior members of my committee, including one, Rigathi Gachagua, who was my junior member, who traveled with me. And I discovered in that benchmarking that road contractors in the US are paid every Monday. Every Monday. So that when that guy now is paid, then he pays his workers, they pay their drivers, the drivers pay their housemates. So it's a whole chain of how money is supposed to, to circulate. So I think coming up with an alternative mechanism that is debt-free and that is not increasing taxation is a commendable thing. So on the issue of brick and mortar, I think this government may hack it. I think they will hack it. On social programs, and of course social programs, is basically two that, three that make sense to the people. Health, education, and social protection. Those are the three things that make sense to people. If you ask a common person in the village, they will tell you, wanangojea pesa ya wazee, or their pensioners, they want to have their money. They will tell you that they want to be treated in the hospitals, and they want, their children, educated. Those are the three things, social programs. Now, unfortunately, my friend, is that, again, that this government was not very lucky. Because the way we go about our social programs is nothing but communism. It's communism. And it's not communism that came with this government. How can